Hello, and welcome to another episode of fellowindhaka. Last week was an interesting week. It was slow, but it still had some interest. I was able to make some progress with my students in my 102 and 103 classes. And for the master's classes, I was able to provide feedback during their presentations. It was an interesting experience because for many of those students, they seem to read their slides, which is not productive in giving a presentation. So the feedback was well received. I know at the beginning it did seem a little harsh just for students to get such feedback. What's the word? Not prompt, but brunt feedback, but it did serve a purpose in getting them to think about who their audience is and things of this nature, because it doesn't make sense for a student to have a lot of text on a slide and then to read that slide and then to have a chart in a slide and then to read the numbers on the chart for that slide. It didn't make sense. A lot of it was redundant, and so mentioning things like that, also things with posture and other things, was very helpful. As for my writing courses, for my composition, the 103 class, they got their multi-draft back. I worked on those, and that was quite interesting, giving them a simple task and allowing them to work in pairs. Having them work collaboratively is something new that a lot of students have talked about, and I thought that was something interesting that they could share, and of course share in the grade, and it saves me time in grading, but having them, allowing them an opportunity to work together on a common goal was fruitful. For my 102 class, unfortunately, we still struggle. Many of them are still missing the target, misunderstanding questions. They're still not asking questions for clarity, which is posing a problem. I had a makeup class on Friday, and several of them came, but they're not acting, I should say, as students of a top university would be acting. And I say this as where there's giggling, there's a lot of talking during class, a lot of other things that are not conducive to learning. And I see this a lot with several of the students in 102, which makes it difficult, but I still keep my motivation for the class. Something else I look forward to, even though term is ending, is I'm looking forward to the new term. Next term will start sometime close to the end of January, and I realized after talking with one of my colleagues how I had started the semester maybe a little off. I originally wanted to start with using Instagram as a way to integrate writing in class, and because of the problems that we faced, I just stopped using any type of media in class. But a colleague suggested that perhaps if we switched to LinkedIn and worked on helping to build that leader profile, that leader identity, then that may be more receptive to students, and it would give them an opportunity to showcase their work in a professional setting where they can learn from not only themselves but others in and outside of the classroom. Another thing when we're talking about teaching, over the weekend I was approached to participate in a virtual book club. I don't recall too many of the details, but so far I would be asked to facilitate a book at some point from what I do remember. And I'm not certain if I'll have to read and participate in every book club session, but being a part of that would be really interesting. It's an opportunity to collaborate with other fellows in some other countries, namely in Nepal. And that should be interesting, just being able to talk and meet other people and learning from their experience. If I'm able to, I will do some research and find a reasonable book that's relative to our cause here in Southeast Asia, in Bangladesh, particularly from that point of view. And last, outside of that, there hasn't been much. On Friday and Saturday, there was news from the protesting. The opposition has had a rally, and so a lot of the city was closed. I thought it was very nice because at least in my little walk on Friday, the walk was peaceful. There weren't as many people out. It was quiet, and so I enjoyed the peace. But for a lot of other people, they were out protesting, and power to them. Other than that, there's not all that much that I can say. I look forward to seeing you and updating you on our next chapter. I will keep you updated, and have a wonderful week.